Greetings, I'm Barrett and welcome to Meet Me at the Table. Today is the day we are finally going to be able to unlock a game I've been waiting for a long time. This is Awakened Realms. This is Nemesis Lockdown. For those of you that don't know, I'm a huge Nemesis fan. I've played multiple playthroughs of it on my channel. Please go ahead and check them out if you're interested in seeing some great Nemesis playthroughs. I'm going to be doing an unboxing of my Kickstarter pledge that I was able to get finally from Awakened Realms. I've been waiting for a while. This is going to be super cool. I'm excited to show you everything that's in this box and explain a little bit about this game as we go through it. Then, of course, we'll be doing some playthroughs of this game, so please stick around to see those. Those are going to be coming really soon because I'm super excited to get into this game. If you're excited to see what's in this box, even though we already know, then I need you to meet me at the table. Normally I don't show the inside of a box, but again I want to continuously show how Awakened Realms packages their games. They use these great foam inserts here that have the padding right here. They keep your game perfectly preserved and ready to play for when it comes out of the box. I've never seen any type of damages from this because of how well they package their game. So here's Lockdown, and I even have all the card protectors that go with it because of course I sleeve all my games. I'm just that kind of player. Now that you've seen how it looks inside, let's dig into each of these boxes and see what they are. Now I'm not going to dig through the card sleeves because, well, card sleeves are card sleeves. I think we've seen what a card sleeve does. This art looks amazing from the front. That's one of the things I've really dug about Nemesis is the artwork in it. They've done a really good job of keeping a cool look and theme throughout the entire time. So we're going to dig into this. We first start, of course, with our game manual. We'll have to dig through this and see what has changed. There are some big changes in this, and mostly the core game of Nemesis is still intact inside this box. Next, we have room sheets. These are going to tell you all the different things that happen inside the rooms that you're going to find in Nemesis Lockdown, along with a rule summary, which is really cool. The original Nemesis game had a few, the rules were not the greatest, and I'm sure they've gone over with a fine-tooth comb. They've made the game really easy to get to learn now. We have room sheets that tell us all the different rooms and what is going to happen inside them, and on the back we have more rooms and a rule summary, so we'll put those aside. We have all of our punch boards here, and we have the laboratory. The laboratory is similar to your Nemesis, or the intruder board in the first one, except there's some differences here. We have this right here. This is like a knowledge track, if I remember right, and the more you learn about them, the more you're going to reveal weaknesses. It's different from the original Nemesis, where if you bring a token, you get certain things. If you bring something else, you get a certain weakness shown to you. This is going to show you, as you gain this knowledge, you're going to be able to unlock this, and doing different things in the game through all those different rooms, or through combat, maybe bringing a token somewhere, one of these intruder carcasses somewhere, would be able to give you more of this knowledge, which is really cool. I like that new system of how you get to learn how to defeat these easier. Then we have our punch boards. So let's take a look at all of these and see what we have. Our first one has a couple of our characters on it. It has our hacker and it has our sentry. Each character is different and performs actions in different ways based on their card decks, and we'll get to those as we see them. These are three of the new type of locations. We're going to see a backup power supply, a repository, and we have an isolation room. This number up here shows how many cards you have to discard to be able to use the actions of these rooms. And on the player boards, they have changed some of this. It shows that you can give one card for a basic action, and it does show you which ones you can use in combat and out of combat, which is very important when you play the game. Also, we have our corpse tokens down here. It shows you the miniature you're going to need, and I think that's about all that's on this one. Let's go to the next one. We have our exploration tokens here that are going to be found on the back side of these question marks, and there are indoor and outdoor ones. We have some more characters. We have a xenobiologist. That looks pretty cool. Then let's see what else we have. Oh, these I believe are going to be some of our technology type things, or I will have to check out what some of those tokens are. We have a lab rat. Oh, I like that. This person's even blindfolded. And underneath are the knowledge tokens. These are different tokens that are going to show our knowledge in the game. Let's see what we have next on the next punch board. Looks like we have a survivor from the Nemesis. That's cool. That might be one of the ones we play right away because that sounds pretty awesome. We also have a janitor. These are power tokens. Sometimes the station's going to gain power and lose power based on events or time on the time track, and you're going to have to, that's one of the things you're going to have to deal with. And if you're in darkness, the intruders have a better chance of surprising you. We also have these tokens here. These are new. These are the contingency tokens, and they're going to have an influence on how the game comes to an end. We'll move on to our next tile. It looks like we have the intruder bag tokens. These are all the tokens that are going to be in the bag, and these are the token backside. Like it shows here, this one you need 3 cards to not be surprised if it's in highlight, or if you have light, and if you're in darkness, you need 4 cards. So it makes it easier for these monsters to be able to jump on top of you. And of course, we have our different types moving all the way up from the queen all the way down to our little larva type characters, and we do have the blank token as well. Here's some new places. We have the testing lab, surgery, cargo, and contaminated room. Interesting. Of course, each one of these is going to be able to perform actions for your characters in them. They also show little computer symbols that are going to affect different things in the game. Also, the color of the room matters when it comes to trying to search for different items. Let's move to the next one. It looks like we have some dials now, which is pretty cool, because when the intruders take damage, you're not going to know exactly how much damage they have, and you're going to be using these dials to signify how much they have taken before you use little red cubes. And you could probably still use real little red cubes. I don't see why you couldn't. There's no reason not to. There are some more rooms up here. We have our first player token right there. And these are CSS tokens. Over here, we'll see how those affect the game as we play through it. Then we have the top of the dials right here, along with the eggs. The nest is going to gain the eggs that it's going to need. And of course, you can take those back to most likely that laboratory to learn more about it. It shows right here, here's the nest. That's how you're going to put all your eggs in there. And they may become more based on what happens in the game. There's a rover that's going to move back and forth between sections of the map, or it's also a way off the map, potentially for a win condition. Again, we have more. We have the nest right here. Oh, and look at this. Characters, when explored this room, gain 1 knowledge, take 1 egg. So just by going in that room, we're going to gain a knowledge. Unlike Nemesis, where you had to bring the egg all the way back, which I'm sure you'll get more knowledge from if you're able to do it, bring it to a certain room. But just going there and exploring it, you're going to gain 1 knowledge, which is pretty awesome. We'll see what, I think we have only 1 punch board left, and it looks like that one's going to have the elevator, and it also has our doors. And the other tokens on here, of course, are some of the rooms and our main gate, which is, I believe, how we're going to come into here. Of course, everybody might start in different spots depending on what you did in the, or who you've taken in the game, I believe. The elevator, of course, can be moving around the different areas. And notice this section here, that's where you're going to put that power token. And if it's lit, that means it works. And if it's not lit, then it doesn't get to work. And you're going to have to unlight and light things based on potentially some of the rooms that happen in the game. So there's a lot of new elements inside Nemesis Lockdown that I'm super excited to get to. Then we have our board. I'm not going to be able to lay this whole board out for you, but I might at the end, before we move to the stretch goals, I'll maybe put it down and give you a big overview of what this looks like. But you're going to be placing all your rooms onto these areas here, and then an exploration token as well. These are corridors where you're going to be moving from room to room, and in this game the way you move is you just move to these rooms. You don't have to count the corridors or anything like that. The numbers here signify where you're going to put potential noise tokens that could alert intruders to come and get you, which is too bad. And of course, like I said, it is dual-sided. So there's 2 different sides to this map, and I'm just unfolding a little bit of it. And like I said, I'll try to spread it all out for you at the end to show you everything about this. We have our new red revealer that is going to show you if you're contaminated or not. You'll see how that works in a playthrough if you're interested in seeing that. We have our Nemesis bag. You're going to put the tokens that it tells you into here, and you're going to draw those out as you're playing the game during one of the the intruder bag development stage of the game, which is found, of course, in the rules. It tells you all the different parts and how you're going to put it together. We have a top part that doesn't have anything on it, but I'm sure we're going to be putting the character boards like right here. This is going to hold some things as we go forward. I'm really hoping this insert holds everything, especially sleeved cards. The last one, it was pretty tough to get sleeved cards in. Look at this. This is way better insert than the other one. We have our noise tokens here. We have fire tokens. We have tokens here that we can use to denote certain things on our character cards or potentially in some of the missions. If you look at one of the character boards, it shows that there's a spot for if you've sent the signal or you are slimed, and you're going to use those tokens to place it there. These are standees for the door. These are going to be for our dials, which is pretty cool. We have damage cubes. We also have these I think these are the malfunction tokens, and there's dice. Now, the original game only came with a few dice. This comes with a lot more. We have the dice we know and love as our noise dice, which either has a silent symbol, a danger symbol, or a number that will correspond with the corridors that are found inside Lockdown. Also, we have our original our dice here that we used in the original game that shows you if you're able to hit some of the intruders, but then we have these new ones called advantage dice, and based on what you roll you can potentially do even more damage. Based on whether or not you decide to discard cards, it will increase the damage based on your roll if you actually show that symbol, which is pretty cool. Then we have this I believe is going to be a noise dice for if you're outside, which is pretty awesome. There's even outside things that can happen to you, and there are even cards that deal with that. That's what's in this. Let's go ahead, lift it up. I bet the miniatures under here, and I'm super excited for those. Oh my gosh, there they are. These are the player miniatures. Normally I paint these up, even though they've done what do they call it, the sun drop to them. I'll still go ahead and paint these up because I like to have our characters look really cool. But I never touch any of these because they're already really cool. Oh, look at this. Here's the lab rat. Look at that gun on that thing. But look, she's got that blindness to her, which is kind of cool. I'm excited to dig into her cards and see what they're all about. I wonder, here's the survivor right here. This is the one that survived the Nemesis already. I'm pretty excited to try that one. I'm excited to try all these guys. I think they're all going to be really cool. But these are the trays that every person is going to get. And remember, the game can also be played semi-co-op. And if that's the case, you're going to be hiding your objectives and your items and everything from everybody, and potentially can either help or hinder the party depending on what your objective is in the game. Then we have all of our miniatures here. Look at these. These are sun-dropped, then they're brown. They look really, really cool. I'm really excited for these. Look very similar to one of their earlier games, the Tainted Grail. They have very similar style to them when it came to the menhirs. They look very similar to this. These, I believe, are going to be the larva type character that is going to be in the game. Then we have our creeper type characters. That's these that I showed you. Then we have our adult characters. I'm sure these are the adult ones. Oh, look at these guys. They look absolutely amazing. Look at the detail on these. Super, super cool. Super, super excited. All right, let's move on to the next set. And here's even more amazing things. The adults usually have 3 or 4 different sculpts from what I can tell. Here's another one of the sculpts that they have. He's standing on top of this oil drum. That looks really cool. I like the things coming off. That looks really neat. Then we have, I believe this is going to be the breeder right here. He's a stronger version of the adult. He kind of sits in between the queen and the adults as a more powerful enemy you have to fight. And of course, trying to take one of these down is really, really tough. And not only that, if you drop them in the box, they are still really, really tough. They don't break, which is fantastic because I'm probably going to drop these all the time. And then we have our queen. This is it right here. The queen looks cool. Absolutely amazing. I will never get enough of what Awaken Realms does when it comes to its miniatures. They're so good. They've been making exponentially awesome miniatures for a long time. We have all of our cards in the bottom of this box. We're going to go through each one of these stacks at least a little bit so we can see what some of the new cards are in Lockdown. The first deck of cards are some of the Night Stalker weaknesses. Let's take a look at one of them right here. This one says photosensitivity. Using a glow stick during a melee attack action deals 2 injuries instead of 1. So that could be one of the weaknesses you find. I don't want to go through all these because I want to be surprised as we play through the game to figure out what weaknesses we have. Then we have some of our items. These are going to be the normal items right here. And then we have our, there's 3 different kind of items. There's military, there's these medical ones, and the yellow ones are technical ones. Let's look at a few of these. We have right here an emergency access. If you are in the elevator room, call the elevator and use it even though there's no power in the elevator. That'll be pretty handy, I'm pretty sure. And notice again, this symbol up here means I can only use these out of combat. Cave plans. If you're in a room with a technical corridor's entrance, you may move to a chosen explored room with a technical corridor entrance, draw and resolve an attack card, treat it as an attack from an adult intruder in darkness. Oh my gosh. All right, so those are a few of the cards. We have thermite charges, which are kind of neat. Those, of course, are our technical cards. Then we have our medical cards. A lot of these are probably going to be like ways of healing you and such. We have a medical stapler. We can dress with serious wounds. And as you can tell, if you go through the game, you're going to get a lot of wounds. It's pretty much inevitable you're going to get wounded. There's not much you can do. We have clothes that could help you with getting rid of slime. Slime is bad news. You do not want slime. That's just a few of the items. Of course, these is a huge item deck. And I'm excited to dig into some of these as we play through the game. Let's open up the next one. The next deck has crafted items, along with some of the military items And then we have, I believe, we're going to have our starting cards over here as well. So we'll get to some of these starting cards in a second. I do want you to know you can craft items in this game, which is really cool. If you bring some of, most of the time, if you use some of the technical cards, they're going to have symbols on them that you can use to help craft things. For example, this symbol up here, if you have one of those and you have a symbol like this, you could potentially craft one of these neat, cool items. For example, let's see if we can find one. Here's a couple of them. We got Enviro suits, which if you put these two together, you can make one. Your character ignores rules for slime and fire damage, and you can escape the facility without using a rover. That sounds absolutely amazing. Some of the crafted items in the original one weren't the greatest, so hopefully some of these are going to be a little bit better. We have a pistol. You can make a pistol. That's not bad. I don't even know how you make it. It doesn't even say. It's just a crafted item, pistol. I'm sure we'll find out as we play. Oh, it's right here. It has 3 ammo. Unmodified rolls of 2 are treated as 1, so it's not the greatest. Obviously, pistols aren't the best when you're fighting things that big. They're not going to do too much. So let's see what else we have. We have a taser. I'm sure this can probably choose one intruder in the room you are in. It suffers 1 injury and retreats. That's not bad. So there's some of the crafted items. Then we get the military items here. I'm sure some of these are going to be like weapons and things. We can find one of the weapons. We got glow sticks. We have caffeine pills. We have, here's some of the prototype rifle, for example. Each time you roll, you can discard 1 additional ammo to deal 1 damage. Notice it says 1-6. This is new to Lockdown. It'll show you how much ammo a gun has when you find it. For example, here's a charged rifle. It comes fully loaded. That's awesome. It has 4 ammo just right off the bat, which is pretty cool. A door pilot. Move and close the door in a corridor you are moving through. That sounds really good. So those are some of the military items, and we looked at the crafted items. Let's take a look at some of the stuff that we can get with our characters here. Each person comes with like a quest card, and it comes with their starting card. The starting item for the hacker is this smart gun. It starts with 3 ammo, and rolls of blank are treated as a hit. That's not too bad. Now notice this symbol here. That means it's heavy, which means you can only carry 2 of these items at any time in your inventory. Not necessarily this item, but 2 items that have that symbol. And if he ever gets to this point, or this person, sorry, ever gets to this point, activate this item in the archive. So if they get to the archive, they can flip this card over and use it. Now let's go ahead and, no, I'm not going to go ahead and see what it is. We're going to find out in the playthrough. Interestingly enough, I want you to tell me who you want me to play in the playthrough. I'll probably grab a couple people and we'll play with them. We have the xenobiologist starting gear, and she starts with a probe arm. This item cannot be traded or discarded. If you're in combat, discard 1 use and place 1 carcass on this card. Do not place a carcass if 1 is here already. Interesting. Or discard a tool belt or duct tape to fully restore uses on this item. I have no idea what that's all about. Maybe we'll see. Maybe her cards will have a little bit to have to do with that. We have the janitor. What his starting item is probably a mop. Nope, nail gun. Well, sounds pretty fitting. All right. Then we have, who's this? This is the sentry. I'm sure he's got some gun, I'm sure. Yeah, he's got a submachine gun. That's pretty awesome. This person, it's got an assault rifle. Is her quest item. That sounds pretty awesome. Cheat codes. What's this one? Overmind. This one's pressure washer. And this one can make a battle suit. Wow, all those sound pretty good. This one has an assault rifle as its quest card. She doesn't start with an item. Oh my gosh, she doesn't start with a weapon. She has to go get it. That's kind of cool. Quest item whale. This is for the lab rat. The soldier. The soldier and the scout, the scientist, the pilot, the mechanic, and the captain all come back from the original Nemesis, and it has their items. This is his 6-shooter. Ammo 6. It can only be reloaded with a reload action card. When you reload, when you roll 2 hits, you deal 1 additional injury. That's pretty awesome. So you can bring back the characters from the original Nemesis to play in Lockdown if you want. So if you don't want to use just the normal survivor that survived it, you could use any one of these. Though it's kind of funny. The survivor looks a little bit like the scout, maybe. Interesting. So we're going to put those down and go to the next set. Next we have our Night Stalker's attack card. The way these work is whenever a Night Stalker attacks you, it doesn't matter which one it is. Of course, larvas don't use these, but depending on which one of these attack you, you're going to flip over the card. You're going to see what it does. So for example, this would be that the creepers or the queen is going to be attacking you, and it's going to be doing this to your character. Up here shows how much health the Nemesis or the intruder has. This is a really cool system that I'm a big fan of. It's kind of met with controversy from what I understand. I'm a huge fan of this system. Whenever you shoot an intruder, you never know if you've got the killing blow. You don't know how many hit points they have. You're just shooting at these things, just trying to hurt them. You don't know anything about these, of course, until you learn some of the weaknesses. So you're shooting, and the first time you shoot, you attack, and you merely did 2 damage, but you got a 5. Oh, he's not dead yet. So you're going to keep on firing, and you hit him again, and now he's got 3 wounds. You're flipping over 4, still not dead, and you still don't know how to kill this thing. And you fire again, and now you got a 3, and now you've put up to 4 tokens. You were actually able to get the killing blow on the enemy, which is cool. That's how I think of it, is you're firing at these things, hoping for the killing blow. You never know if it's going to happen until you finally get it up and enough damage on it, and you're able to find the place where you can kill it. Of course, every one of them is a little bit different, and they're moving fast. You can't attack them. That's exactly how I think of this system, and I think it's a great system. I really enjoy that system. Next, we have some of these Mars surface cards, which are kind of cool. When you go onto the surface and you have to draw an event, you're going to be drawing these Mars surface cards as opposed to regular events, which are going to be cool in themselves. We have radioactive dust. Who doesn't want some radioactive dust? Your character gets 1 contamination card and slime markers, and we'll see some contamination cards probably pretty soon. Or if this is going on, your character gets 1 contamination card. All right, that's awesome. Let's check out some other cards that we have. Speaking of contamination cards, here they are. These are the contamination cards. If you're ever told to get one, you put one of these in your discard pile and you're going to have to deal with it. It's mostly just going to gum up your hand until it comes to a point where you have to figure out if you're going to be able to win the game or not, or if you come to a point where you have to reveal a contamination card. In here are a bunch of words. We'll see if my camera can actually pick this up. This could be a mute point here in a second. But you slide your card right in there and you see if any of the words say infected. Oh, there's infected. So this would be bad news city for our character. We would have to deal with whatever the infected card would have to do to us based on potentially some objectives, or if it's the end of the game, we'd probably lost at that point. Next, we have our serious wound cards here. These are some cards that you're going to be drawing if you ever take serious wounds, of course. And each of these are going to hinder you in some way. For example, we got legs. The cost of your escape movement action is now 2. I don't know how many of these are going to change from the original one. You draw 4 actions instead of 5. Those are very similar to the original Nemesis game. And of course, I'm not going to look at all of them. We'll see how they play out in the playthrough. Then we have these solo and co-op objectives right here. These are the ones I'll be playing with. I'm super excited for this. This one says solo plus, so there are going to be some for solo. I'm sure there's some for co-op, which is cool. This one, Alien Compendium. All intruder weaknesses must be discovered. If we do that, we can win. And of course, we have to still survive the lockdown and get out, I believe, or at least lock ourselves down in order to win. Not just once you complete the card, you win. That's not it. You got to also be able to survive lockdown in order to be able to do it. Wake up call. Activate and alert the alert procedures. We'll have to see how we do that. Then with 2 or more, we got the Martian. Finish the game with at least 1 of each crafted item. Oh my gosh. That's kind of fun. It's called the Martian. Based, I'm guessing, on the book. All right, or the movie, I guess they did that too. That's those cards. We only have a few cards left, but when I say a few, I mean this entire huge deck. But what these are all the different characters in the game and their action cards. We'll start with the Sentry here. The first time I go through a set of these cards, it might take a little bit while because I'm going to go through them all. Search allows you to search in one of the rooms. There's a couple of those. Down here it shows you how many other cards you have to pay in order to do this along with the card itself you're using. This up here shows, of course, you can't use this in combat. I mean, this one allows you to scan for contamination cards to see if you're infected or not. Demolition allows you to destroy 1 closed door or a corridor connecting to a room you're in, or I can place a malfunction marker in a room I'm in. Now, why would it be good to place malfunction markers? Maybe you have a thing that says you have to blow up the place. If you do, you want to place those, because once you get enough of those out there, it will eventually explode. We have interruptions, which are used mainly in the semi-co-op version. It's going to stop a character from doing something. We have repairs. We can discard a malfunction marker in a room you're in. Of course, playing this repair card is also going to cost you 1 other card, so I'd have to play that plus discarding this when we play it. We have stun. This is good. Now we have ones unique to the characters themselves. This one I believe is unique to him. We can choose a character in a room you're in with 3 or fewer in your hands, and we can do something to them. We have quarantine. If you're in a room with a computer, you can choose a room and close all the doors around it. That's kind of cool. We have facility tour. Move yourself and one other character to a room you're in. If they do not have to agree. Oh wow, they don't have to agree. That's interesting. To the chosen neighboring room, you may ignore the effects of exploration tokens. Defensive plan. If you're in a white or red room, use the action without paying its cost. That's kind of cool. And then we go back to the search. Let's check out the janitor. The janitor, I'm sure, is going to have some cards that's going to help him move around the board. He's got 2 search cards, just like everybody. A rest card, a demolitions, interruption, and then he's got stuff like it should work. Use a room action, even though there is a malfunction marker. He can use the emergency key to use the elevator. Of course, there's others. I'm just quickly running through these. There, of course, more on the card than what I'm saying. If you're in a room with a yellow room, reduce the counter by 1 and take the flamethrower or evo suit or a taser. Oh my gosh, that's really good. Then we've got maintenance plans. You're in a white or yellow room. I can use it without paying its cost. Or, of course, there's something down here, check for 2 unexplored room tiles. So there's multiple ways you can use each of these. There's a cleanup card. Then we go back to the search. Next, we have our hacker. The reason I'm showing you a lot of these cards is maybe it'll help you decide which character I should play when I do my playthrough. We, of course, got our 2 search cards, our rest card, demolitions, interruption, and recharge. Use in a section with a power to add 2 to your energy weapon. That's kind of cool. Then we have, what's this? Neural link. If you're in a room without a computer, in the section with power, use the computer action, or there's something down here at the bottom. We have bypass. I'm guessing you're able to, if you're in a room with a computer and the section of power, you may perform a number of actions from the computer action card. Discard the computer action card afterwards. Flip a power token or of the section you're in. That's kind of nice. Works for me. I can discard a malfunction token of some kind. And master plan. If you're in a room with a computer, a lot of this has to do with computer stuff because, of course, he is a hacker, which makes total sense. Next, we have our xenobiologist. I don't even know what could possibly be part of these cards. We've got our search, demolition, interaction, repairs, visceration. What's this? Discard a 1 use from your probe arm. Oh, she's got that probe arm, so a lot of these are going to probably have to do with that thing. Choose 1 intruder in the room you are in. It suffers 1 injury plus 1 for each 2 knowledge you have. Oh my gosh, that could be brutal if I get up to 6 knowledge. Field experiments gives you 3 possible things, and they have to do based on the amount of knowledge you have, which is pretty cool. So if you have 6 knowledge, you're going to do the bottom one. Oh, this character seems pretty neat. Pheromones, you can discard an egg or carcass after an intruder attacks to ignore the attack. If I have 6 knowledge, I get something else instead. We have workspace plan. If you're in a white or green room, I can use the action without paying its cost, or I can check for some unexplored things. Rushed analysis, scan a contamination card in your hand and remove all uninfected cards. If you remove at least 1 card this way, I gain a knowledge. So she's all about gaining knowledge. That's pretty cool. Next, we have our lab rat. We're getting close. I think there's only 1 or 2 characters left after this one. 2 search cards, rest, demolition, interruption, basic repairs. Then she's, inconspicuous. It's a huge card here. Discard this card when an intruder attacks you, but before drawing the attack card. And there's another character in the room. You are in, the intruder attacks the character instead of you. Oh, that's kind of funny. In darkness, something else will happen. We have weird metabolism. I can discard a slime marker. That's not bad. Discard 1 contamination card from your hand to draw 2 cards from your deck. That's really good too. Wow. Sensitive hearing. Oh, so she's going to be kind of built up through like mutagen, or not mutagen, but, well, she's not a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, but she, I'm guessing she's going to be, the theory behind her, I'm sure, has to do with the fact that she's been experimented on down here in lockdown. And so we have sensitive hearing. She's probably able to discard noise markers or place noise markers. Feel in the dark. Discard this card during the event phase to ignore the darkness effects, which is kind of cool because she is blind, which is really neat. Then we have our survivor here. Our survivor has some search, rest, demolition, interruption, and then she's got repairs. She also has desperate attack. I'm sure that has to get 1 contamination card but do more damage. Obstinate. Draw 1 card for each serious wound you have. Oh, okay, so because of course she survived. She's a survivor. Vents. If you're in a room with a technical corridor entrance, you can move through the technical corridors. That one's very similar to I believe it's the mechanic from the first one. Of course, there's more writing on here. I'm sure you might have to take a damage or something. Distraction. Discard 1 card, 1 of your items and or 1 other chosen in your room. You may escape the room moving the same. Oh, I kind of just throw out an item and the thing chases after it. That's kind of neat. Now, the cool thing about this is I'm noticing there's another set of cards here. We have a whole other set of cards for the pilot because really I think the pilot becomes almost obsolete because she's not on the Nemesis anymore. So a lot of the cards she had to do with things in the Nemesis, where now she's got cards that are not going to be part of that. So I've got like Respite. If you're in a section with power, draw 2 cards. So she has a whole new set of cards based on being in lockdown, which is pretty cool. That's everything from the core box. Let's go ahead and check out the stretch goals box. But before we do, I lied. There is some more cards. 1, it shows you all the neat things you can craft based on here. So it's got some helper cards here, which are going to be player aids. We've got this one. We've got the way the intruder bag develops. So you're going to be able to read this as you're playing through the game to make sure you're doing it right. Also, we have some pass cards, and we have what turn you're going to do. So you're going to pass these out at the beginning to figure out who's going to go first, second, third, and so forth. And on here, it shows you all the things you can do during a player phase and all the things you're going to do during the event phase. I believe that's everything here. Oh, on the back, we have Night Stalker Encounter and how you're going to play through that. Then we also have the contingencies, what they do, and how they're going to interact with all these other tokens as well. So they have some really cool help cards that are going to be able to give us a chance to know what to do when we play the game, which is pretty awesome. The last thing I want to do before we go to the stretch goals boxes, I just noticed that, not even played the game before, there are two different sets of event decks. One of them is for the original intruders in the original Nemesis game that you can use. So some of the cards we were looking at from that must have been from that deck, because there is another deck that talks about the Night Stalkers, which is pretty cool. So they've got multiple event decks based on the intruder or the Nemesis faction you are playing with. Similar to when you played the original Nemesis, there were the three different factions: the Void Seekers, Seeders, the Carnimorphs, and the original intruders. So that's very similar here. We've got a whole other deck of cards, and I believe we're going to carry these people over into the actual Nemesis game if we wanted to in the future. The stretch goal box is going to contain, I believe, a whole other faction and some other extra things that unlock during the Kickstarter. The first thing we have is a lockdown rule book that has to do with this. I do want to bring your attention up here. It says, do not want to read the rules, watch the video, learnnemesis.com, and that's also on the other lockdown book as well. I didn't bring it to your attention when I opened it. This is the game manual for what is inside the stretch goals and how this faction plays. Also, we have one of the coolest parts of Nemesis that I played in the original one. Nemesis Original Untold Stories was phenomenal. I really enjoyed playing through that. Sadly, I couldn't play the second one because they decided to make it competitive or semi-co-op, which was really disappointing to me because I wanted this to be like a solo co-op type experience when you play with your friends. Now we have Nemesis Lockdown Untold Stories 3. What this is this is like a comic that goes through but a little mini campaign that you can play. Hopefully with people, we'll see how it goes here, or you might have to play it solo. We're going to look through this and figure out if this seems super cool. This might be the route we go when we play our game. Let's take a look at the punch boards. Before we do, I do want to say that Untold Stories Volume 3 is solo co-op. I'm super excited for that. That is awesome that it is solo co-op. It even says right in the book that it is a solo co-op experience, so that I'm going to look into and dig through. That might be definitely something that is going to come to this channel at some point. Of course, I want to play the game first, so we might do lots of videos on this because this game is awesome. We have a laboratory again. This is for the new faction that is found inside this expansion box, or the stretch goals box. These are the Chirid expansion. I said that wrong. Chirid expansion. If anybody can tell me how to say it, that's great. Please put it in the description below so I know how to say it from now on, because I'm not going to say it anymore for this video because every time I'm going to say it, it's probably going to be wrong. This is the laboratory for the stretch goals faction. That's what I'm going to call them from now on. These are the ones for the dice, the intruder bag you're going to stick them into. These are for that Untold Stories. These are the tokens for it. It's just like similar to the original Nemesis. They had tokens built for that inside the stretch goals. We have even more here. Another laboratory for the different types of factions. Oh, this is for the Carnimorphs. Oh my gosh, look at this. Here we go for the Carnimorphs. That's really cool. So we're going to see all the different factions that we could play in here. So we have the Carnimorphs, and we have that faction on the backside. I wonder if, yes, there they are. The Void Seeders are right there. That is awesome. So we could even bring the Void Seeders in here. That's really cool how they're combining all of the different types of people and the Nemesis that are from the original game. Let's continue here. We have the Medic's Knowledge Token. Now, sadly, even though I'm a nurse, I don't actually have the Medic. I missed it in the original Kickstarter and forgot to actually put it on this Kickstarter as well. So somehow I'll have to maybe try to dig up a Medic from somewhere, maybe on the secondary market or something. But I don't actually own that character. I'm really bummed about it. Here's some more of the tokens we're going to put in the bag. We also have some more stuff for the Untold Stories, and this is their laboratory board right here. And we'll have to go through how that works. And we have, what, a spore counter here? I think this is how it works. It's the Queen's board. This is going to be part of that. I'm guessing as this grows, something bad happens, is my guess. We'll see how it works. We have some wonderful bags, and I already see the miniatures. Super cool looking. We are going to dig into those. Oh, we have a whole bag of just these plastic tokens here. These are spore markers that we're going to put off to the side. We also have mycelium type markers right here. Let's open this up and get to these. These are for part of the game. These are different evolutions of how this whole faction works. And I know I'm calling them factions. They're different types of Nemesis is more probably what I should be saying. Also, we have the stink horns here. That's what these are. These are the stink horns. These look really cool. I like how they use the green. It makes them look really cool. Then we have, what's another one here? We have the death caps. That's what these are, huh? These are the death caps, I bet. Let's take a look. And then the last one, of course, is going to be the queen type creature. Yes, it is. Let's take a look. Look at this thing. And this is all, of course, done with their sun drop, which looks really cool on those miniatures. It looks really neat. Then we have these. These are germinators. There's green and there's purple ones, so there's probably purple ones in here somewhere. We'll have to find them. And of course, okay, it only goes in one way, just like that. This is the first player token that you can use. If you don't want to use the cardboard one, you can use that. Then if you don't want to use the cardboard for the rover, you have this miniature here. I might paint some of these up a little bit. And then we have the doors. This is going to be the main entrance door from what I understand. And these are the doors that you're going to find in the game as you're playing, those ones that they had the little, that you put the stings on. And if you ever had to close the door behind you, you'd put this in the corridor. And if it breaks, these things separate somehow, just like that. Oh my gosh, took a little bit to get it apart. But they break and you can put that down as a broken door, which is pretty awesome. So these things then go back together, and there's a whole bunch of them. That's pretty neat. And somewhere under here is probably those other germinators. I wonder if they're under here, or I bet they're probably under the cards. Let's take a look. We're going to go underneath these cards and see if we can find some more germinators here. Oh, nope, maybe if I just picked up some more germinators, I'd see them. Everybody that saw me picked up the greens are like, no, they're right underneath there. There's the purple ones right down there, and I'm sure those both do different things based on where they are and who they're with in the board. Some of the cards we have the needle gun for the medic, but I don't actually have the medic, super sad. We have our weaknesses for the faction. I'm not going to look at those. We have something for the convict. Oh, so these are for the, if you were ever able to get the Aftermath expansion that came for Nemesis, you got a whole bunch of new characters, and these are the new cards for those characters. We have the psychologist. We have the android starting items. The android's getting a new item, and so is the CEO. That's pretty cool. It's kind of funny because these are the two characters I use for a playthrough. And now we have new things for them. We have broken robots. So in case you didn't, in the original one, he had this robot that actually did everything for him. Now his robot is broken. It has 3 energy. This item cannot be traded. Discard 1 energy each time you use 1 robot action. Some of the robot actions are removed from the game when used. Oh, that's too bad. Discard a weapon battery to fully restore the energy for this item. Okay, that's pretty cool. Now, she used to have a gun that was attached to her arm, but not anymore. Now her starting item is this UPS. Each time you reshuffle your deck, discard 1 energy from this item. If you have to discard energy and there is none, oh my gosh, she's on a timer. Oh, that's amazing. She was a pretty powerful character, which is cool that she actually is on a timer. That's kind of neat. Next, we have 3 different event decks. 1 for the Void Seeders, 1 for the Carnivores, and then 1 for our new faction that comes with this expansion. And each one of these is going to be different. Now, this is really cool because these cards look totally different. I think it's going to be based on whatever these are. Things are going to happen in the game. They're going to like grow and mutate. I mean, these are like a plant-based species from what I understand. So it's kind of cool that these are going to be how it's probably going to evolve in the game, as opposed to going around and killing you. It's going to slowly overtake the entire place, my guess. Then we've got, of course, their attack deck, which shows you how much health it's going to have you attempt to attack it. This would be the adult type creature, which would be the, I think it's the, what do they call them? They called them the death caps. Those are going to be right here. The death cap would do this to us then, which is kind of cool. So I'm excited to try this faction out. It looks really, really unique compared to some of the other ones. That's one thing I have to give Nemesis a big applaud for, is each faction plays 100% differently. They're really cool. Even the event cards and the way that the monsters themselves interact with their characters is completely different. We do have the, which one's this? This is the Carnivores, which has to do, remember, with our mutations. We can mutate our characters, which is pretty cool. And moving on, we have 2 new objective cards. These are for the bounty hunter. So if the bounty hunter is being played and you draw one of these, you can use one of those. That's kind of cool. Then we have a character draft card for the medic. I don't have the medic, super sad still. We have a whole help card on the new faction that tells you exactly how to develop the bag and how to use it when you encounter. Then we have a whole set more of pass cards for players 1 through 5 again. I don't know why we need double of these, but we now have double of these. I bet maybe this has to do with the new faction. It's going to have some different, yes it does. I bet it has different things down here is my guess for how the game works based on the faction you're playing. I bet you're going to use those when you're playing with this new faction. At least that's my guess. Yes, here it is. So we also have one for Void Seeder right here. We also have one for, I'm going to sure there's one here for the Carnivores. Yes, so each faction is going to have its own helper card. That way you know exactly how to work its event phase. We have a few more cards, and they're the cards for the android and the bounty hunter. I'm guessing their cards were so focused on the Nemesis itself that they had to change some of them to make them fit what's going to be happening inside of Lockdown. There you have it. That is the unboxing of Nemesis Lockdown by Awakened Realms. This is a Kickstarter that I have been waiting for. I'm super excited to bring bring this to the table. I hope you enjoyed the unboxing. If you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you know when the playthrough for Nemesis Lockdown comes out. Of course, I would like to hear in the comments below everything you have to say. Don't forget, I would like to know what 2 characters you would like to see in the playthrough coming up for Nemesis Lockdown. And after that, we might dig into the Untold Stories Volume 3. I've really enjoyed the first one, and I'm excited to move forward into the next one and see how that story plays out in comparison to the first one that they made for Nemesis. Again, thank you so much for watching, and if you're excited to see what comes next for Nemesis or anything else, then I need you to meet me at the table.